All right, Elena. Well, welcome. Welcome to my channel. I'm thrilled to have you here today. And I think I'm going to start with just giving a little bit of background of how we know each other.
Please.
Um, so Elena and I went to college together. I was in my bachelor's, she was in her master's, and we just had a splendid time. And those were the days when we would go out dancing and have great times. And I always remembered Elena as somebody that was just a happy, fun-loving person. And as the years went by, we kept in contact via social media. We weren't really in the same town, but there was always a connection there. And I slowly watched Elena develop and grow into this amazing life coach, PhD doctorate. I would watch her live streams. I would sometimes join her groups. And once in a while, I would check in with her to ask her questions. And I was always touched by the wisdom of her advice and just her presence as a human being. And so, my curiosity piqued, and I thought I'm going to invite Elena on to give us some of her wisdoms for my listeners, for my viewers, especially at this time in the world where things are stressful, and we could all use the tips, the education, the knowledge, and just the wonderful influence of this human being. And I've had the wonderful pleasure of getting back into Elena's life recently, as we are now closer to each other in terms of our residence in Nevada. And so, Elena, just introduce yourself. Tell my viewers a little bit more about yourself and about your background.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tiffany. What a pleasure. And it takes one to see one. You are amazing as well, and you have a lot to offer to this world. And it's so special knowing you for so long, even if we weren't always together physically, like you said. And yeah, life is fascinating how we, the friendships we cultivated earlier on that come back full circle. So I want to make a disclaimer, which is by no means I'm Italian American, so I have an accent, and by no means I feel that I've conquered all the answers in this lifetime. I make a lot of mistakes, but maybe the one good quality about me is that I just pick myself up. I surround myself by wonderful people like Tiffany, who always have a positive outlook, and I correct, continue. I'm a people person, so yeah, I value relationships. I do think that happiness comes from having quality relationships that bring the best out of you. So basically, I'm learning with you. The one good thing is that I share is this curiosity to improve ourselves, to spread joy, to help people. So in a nutshell, yeah, please know that I'm always learning with you, and I do my best to stretch myself out of my comfort zone, learn something new, and continue on. Does that answer your question, Tiffany?
Definitely. And because Elena's humble, I'm going to just give a little bit more about her background. So Elena is a doctorate. She is a psychologist. She has a background in organizational psychology. She's done work in clinical psychology. She is an internationally acclaimed life coach. She's worked with both groups and individuals for so many years. She's worked with some of the biggest names out there. And I'm not going to name drop, but anyone you can think of, Elena has worked with. So she really brings a wealth of both experience and education to the table. And so that's why I wanted to pick her brain, both based on her experience with people, her life experience, and just her education of tips that we can all use and enjoy to learn more about happiness and just how to be the best person that we could, all individually be. So, Elena, tell me a little bit about the difference between life coaching and therapy. And obviously, talking about disclaimers, this is not a therapy session. We're not giving clinical advice to anyone, but what we are doing is just picking our brains about the things we've learned over time to share with everyone.
Yes, beautiful. So there is a difference, and they're both important. And I strongly recommend to anybody, use both or more. Myself, I have several coaches for different areas of life. Some I do share with Tiffany, some I keep for my health, workout, and there is room for improvement. I have two at the moment. And then I have a general life coaching one who is I've had for many years. He is actually in Europe. And then I have one who's strictly for marketing, more like consumer behavior. He's in Europe as well. So, I surround myself with my entourage, and hopefully people people stay loyal to you and grow with you. If not, you'll need to make the necessary changes. But okay, so I like to make this analogy. Therapy is very past focused, and coaching is very futuristic. So obviously we need both, right? Because how can you plan a successful future if you don't learn from your past, so you don't repeat the mistakes? And yes, therapy, especially in this country, has a medical model, a lot of limitations. So it can be not easy, but I think it's important. And hopefully in the therapy work I do, which I only do for California at the moment, trying to do Texas as well, but Texas keep rejecting me. Hopefully one of these days I'll be lucky. And hopefully I bring a modern, positive approach. I've studied Seligman, who started with the positive psychology. So anything I do, I do my best to give it a positive spin. There is a little bit of echo, so that Tiffany.
Yeah, I can hear it.
But so like learning the positive from everything that has happened, even the dark, really dark traumas like prison. I'm dealing with some cases like that right now, and actually Tiffany helped me see the good parts. So some cases can be scary, but I think as humans we all need to give each other a second chance, right? Especially if you're willing to do the work. So basically therapy and coaching go hand in hand. So your whole life, past, present, and future, is a continuum, and it can make sense, and you're more of a congruent, coherent person. But other complementary disciplines are also important, like mentoring. Mentoring is great, and I do a little bit of free mentoring for younger psychologists who are getting started. And in exchange, they do my social media, as you may see. So hopefully you like the social media posts and videos. It's actually them, my mentees, doing them. And at university, I teach consulting. That's also complementary. Consulting is more telling people what to do, which some people love that. Not everybody. In coaching is the opposite. We are not supposed to tell the coachee what to do, but it's a different philosophy and train of thought. It's more about asking certain specific, right, powerful questions, so that you as a coachee dig deep inside of yourself and a self-discovery, a self-experience, eyeball breakthrough moment when basically your energy changes, your voice changes, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense, Tiffany?
Yeah, definitely. So the orientation is different. I guess also the theoretical orientation that they each come out of and what they're trying to accomplish is a little different. Like you said, the clinical model, the therapy model is a little bit more of a medical model. It might be better for people who are really in distress or who feel like they want to go back into the past more, and they want to maybe use models that are a little bit more clinical, whereas the life coaching, you're trying to bring out the inner wisdom. I guess in both, you're probably trying to bring out the inner wisdom of the person, but maybe the level of distress and where the person is at might also help them decide whether they want to choose life coaching or therapy. And you know what? If you don't know which one you need, you'll contact therapists and you'll contact coaches and you'll tell them what you're looking for and they can tell you if that
Yes.
sounds like a match. And there's a
Yes.
lot to say about just the individual personality of the coach or therapist. Sometimes we can be helped by either or just because there's a click with that particular person and we feel like that person is the one that's going to take us on the journey that we need at that time, right? So a
Yes.
personality has a lot to do with it as well. So I know this is kind of a big topic, but how did you become interested in this topic?
Yes, that's a very good question. So, I mean, I've always loved people, and I've always loved people. I've always been an extrovert. Um, and I mean, my parents can tell you a story. I would be like 2 years old at the seaside and getting lost at the beach, and then and then and then the beach will have to make an announcement with the lost kid. That was me, like wandering around, and and then I'll even like tag along the African refugees selling coconut on the beach, and all that. But at 6 years old, I had a traumatic experience, and it's actually a happy story though, happy ending. My father was diagnosed as terminal at the time. They reversed that diagnosis later on, miraculously, with no explanation. So he all of a sudden became paralyzed, lost his speech. And as a young girl, I didn't understand. And I thought I did something wrong and it was my fault. So that's probably when I first started getting interested in psychology and being psychosomatic and psychosomatic um, dynamics, because miraculously, really, it probably took 5 years, but he completely got better. I mean, the medical doctor said you're gonna die, but if you saw him today, he's now in his 70s, he's completely fine. So he used he used a lot of therapies that at the time were considered maybe not even scientific. He started reframing his mindset and become more positive and appreciative, a lot of acceptance. And so I witnessed that. I witnessed that. My mom didn't do so well with that news. She had a nervous breakdown, da 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 da. But I mean, I think they really did amazing, considering where science, medicine, and psychology was at the time. I'm gonna be 48 next week, so that would be 40 plus years ago, and I think that's when it all started. And since then, I've been always interested, and I never changed my focus, even in high school, which I did in Italy, in Europe. It has to have a focus, and I always started a year early. So I started at 12, and it's 5 year long. So we had to pick a focus. So I picked psychology. And yeah, I mean, I was a good student, but a little bit of a rebel. So again, I've made some mistakes, and professors made me pay for it. But live and learn, and I picked myself up and trouble and problem solved, and here I am.
So what were you trying to get out of studying this, whole psychology world? What was it that you were looking for?
Yeah, so I think, I still think now, after all these years, and I'm still studying. I'm still studying. I'm always getting new certifications right now. Last quarter, I focused on animal-assisted therapy. Both Tiffany and I are huge animal lovers. Now I'm getting certified in yoga therapy, and Tiffany is being so kind to let me to let me practice on her, and we did that this morning, as a matter of fact. So, so I really do think that our mind is the biggest asset we have, is the biggest asset we have. There is no amount of money that can replace the gold mine that we have in our mind. Now it's a double weapon, right? Because if we don't use our mind, brain, mindset, whatever you want to call it, positively or correctly, it can also be it can be deadly. It can be very destructive. So, but hopefully you learn how to use it in a good way, and that's why we're meeting today to speak about the power of the mind. And I think, I don't think I completely understand it, as other scientists still don't completely understand it. Right? There is so much still to learn. And look at yesterday, Elon Musk launched those robots, right? And trying to replace the human mindset and the way they speak to you and their behavior. So anyway, hopefully that ends up being a good thing.
So I think this would, yeah, sorry.
And that's fascinating to me, still being in a field where there's still so much to discover.
So it's a process, you're saying. Tell me, what have you learned about happiness in all of your studies, with all of your clients and patients and experiences? What can you tell us about happiness?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's $1 trillion question, right? We could be speaking about this until the end of time. The one thing that I've learned from my mentors, one of my biggest mentors is Harvecker, is of Jewish descent, but really more Buddhist, and he brought a lot of case brought, he basically shared a lot of case studies that show how happiness really come from inside of you, inside of us. So Americans especially, sorry, being international, I can sort of see different cultures and differences, but also similarities. Americans, I, I think, are used to think, oh, if I make more money, or if I lose 30 pounds or 20 kilos, I'll be happier. Yes, all of these things can help, right? We were talking about that the other night, Tiffany, when we walked. Money definitely help. Being in great shape definitely helps. But at the end of the day, what do you do with these material things that we don't have as much control over? I mean, it's really how it comes from inside of you, like you choosing, you making choices, conscious choices to be in a happier mood, to be kinder to yourself and others. And so it comes from like an intention, like kind of like we did this morning in yoga. So it really has to come from inside of you, which is not easy. I still myself need to practice and get better at that. And then the rest of the world, whether it's people, money, uh, foods you relate with, environments you relate with, then will reflect what you put out, the energy that you put out, the behavior, the thoughts you put out. Does that make sense?
Definitely. As I'm listening to you, I'm just wondering if you've noticed that there's a common sabotage, maybe, or some common themes, whether it's with working with people or in your own life. What are some of the wisdoms that you've learned over time that seem to help anybody in this happiness journey?
Yeah, I love this question. Thank you for asking it. So I used to do more international work, and now I do a little less for a variety of reasons, but really work with something like 180 countries. And I'm personally not religious, but I do respect all religions, especially if they help you in a positive way. Why not? I'm not political. I respect all faiths, as long as you use it constructively and not destructively. So at the end of the day, with language barrier and all, I think it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy. No matter if you are like from the middle of the desert in Saudi or in Alaska, all the ice, or Antarctica with the penguins, with the smelly penguins. I think we all as humans want to be loved.
Yeah.
We all need like some sense of safety, and we all need some sense of belongings, like we belong to others, we're social, and that we're making a difference, and that our efforts do count. Of course, a shelter, right? We all need some shelter, which right now with all these hurricanes, so you can just imagine all these basic needs are not met, and that's why people kind of lose it, and that affects your mind or mental health, whatever you want to call it. So when the basic so I really think no matter religion or politics or sex preference, we really want to be loved. We want the same basic needs. Unfortunately, because society doesn't give us these mandatory parenting courses, there is a lot of ignorance out there. There is a lot of trial and errors. People fail themselves, and yes, could mistakes be avoided? Yeah. Yes, that's, I really do think psychology and all these different disciplines do bring a lot of awareness, because we're all pretty smart, and and if we stop and reflect upon it, we realize we do have more power than not to influence the outcomes the way we want it to go, which helps us and others as well. I mean, okay, I'm speaking a little general, but with more details. But does that make any sense, Tiffany?
Yeah, completely. Tell me, just thinking about what you were saying, is there anything that you noticed that any misconceptions that people have about happiness, that things, I know you were talking earlier about, sometimes you've noticed in the American culture that people think material, maybe more material, their weight, how much money they have will make them happy. But is there any other pitfalls you've noticed that people fall into, thinking that that's, what's going to bring them happiness, and that's actually not a source of happiness?
Yeah. So you're saying, I think people are just trained and brainwashed, myself included, okay? Because if you just look at the media, right? Like if you just open right now, Google or any social media, you see a bunch of ads that feed you. Is like, okay, you need this latest brush for your hair, or you need I'm a target too. And then sometimes I think, oh my God, yes, if I buy that, yeah, it'll make me look better, be happier. So so it takes a really conscious effort to go inwards. That's maybe where the yoga, which is all focused inward, right? The breath and you and your body helps, among other things, to back inward. Maybe that's where the religion, that's why for some people it works. It doesn't for me, for other reasons. I'm more spiritual, but you're going back inward about what you can do, what you have the power to do, versus waiting around for others to do things or blaming others. Like right now, the hurricane. I mean, it's what can we do, right? It's like, if you just stay in that mindset of angry at the world, this was done to me, then you become powerless. I mean, and maybe you can relate. When I first moved to LA, after you and I met, Tiffany, in San Francisco, in 2003, I was so mad. I was going through a breakup, even a divorce, and so I was so mad. I was mad, right? Like um, and not taking responsibility and thinking like the world, all these bad things happen to me, and I have zero responsibility. And I kept having car accidents. Some were really
Wow.
bad. I had like 3 car accidents in 3 months. That's scary. Like I even totaled a couple of cars. Like
Wow.
bad, right? And when I finally started reading some personal development books and really doing the work and take responsibility, then I haven't had accidents since.
Wow.
Touch wood. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to touch wood when you said that too. I wanted to start knocking on all the wood around.
Yeah.
What do you think you did specifically at that time of your life that changed what you were attracting to yourself? Was it just this internal process that you're talking about realizing that it's an internal job that you need to do, or is there like concrete, specific actions that you took day to day? I know you've mentioned that we need to filter what we let in, that we need to realize that it's an internal job. Are there any other concrete, specific things? Just knowing you, I know that you do things like being very active, volunteering. What other kinds of specific things did you do that got you out of that time and changed what you were attracting to yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. I probably, like, now thinking back, I did many things, maybe too many, but I did change the course of my career, and that's when I got into life coaching more, versus just corporate consulting work. And being a life coach helps me more also, as much as it helps others, because you have to walk talk walk the walk, right? Talk the talk. You sort of have to be an example. So it forces you to look inside and say, okay, am I doing these things I encourage others to do? I did that. Yes, I've always had animals. That's huge. That's very healing and therapeutic. I also change environment. I was living by the beach at the time, and that's very therapeutic. And what else I did? I became vegan. Okay, for me that helps, because I feel aligned with the earth. What else did I do? I did make a lot of changes, just I think without even really realizing it. I probably started running.
Sounds like you did a lot.
Yes.
So you got active, you got busy doing the hobbies that you love and doing things that brought you joy, it sounds like. And
Yes.
just pulling yourself out of that mindset. Wonderful.
Correct. And I actually have that problem of doing too much sometimes. You probably noticed that about me. So I mean, I also have to strive for balance. Sometimes I feel myself with so much that is too much. And I could use more time, to smell the roses.
Is that one of the reasons you decided to get involved with the yoga therapy?
Yes.
Wonderful. So tell me, we talked about one of the hardest times of your life and how you pulled yourself out of it. As we get closer to the close, I'm wondering, what is one of the most meaningful moments of your life and your career where you learned a profound positive lesson?
Yeah, I mean, every day I try to learn a lesson. I journal, and I want to say that, by any stretch, I'm also human, and being in the field of psychology, it's good and bad, you know. It's the good part is I'm very empathetic, but sometimes that can make me sad and borderline depressed, because I empathize too much with people's problems, or the problems of the world and the earth. So, I mean, honestly, every day, I feel like every day I have to have my hour of power, whether it's a walk in nature, or yoga like we did this morning, or reconnecting with good friends like Tiffany, like what, like quality time and quality discussions, not just weather discussions, or with family, no matter how crazy they drive you. But every day I do my best to do empowering, at least one empowering activity, whether it's like tracking my food so I don't overeat, or tracking my water intake, drink enough, hydrate enough, right? Or etc. But I have my moments too, okay, where I need to basically pivot my mindset. And there is a great book. I don't make any money from saying it, but it's called The 5 Second Rule. I don't know if you've read it, which is all about snapping out of that funk in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't let the pity party linger, because the pity or victim party feels good, right? We all do it. You can indulge, cry, but at some point you gotta snap out of it like a rubber band, and say, okay, what do I have control over? Let's be productive. Let's take
I
the
love
next.
that. I love that. I'd never heard that. That's a great suggestion. So 5 seconds. I'll count to 5 the next time I find myself having a pity party.
Good.
I'll end the party after 5 seconds.
Yes.
So tell me, Elena, in 5 years, what are your goals for yourself? What do you hope for your future?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So, and I haven't quite thought about it entirely. But being in my late 40s, I do think about the second part of my life, which, we never thought of that before. We're like too young and invincible, right? Knowledge is bliss. So I would love to work less hours, but the hours I put in to be more impactful and meaningful. I love to do more international work. Go back to that, and I'm gonna be in Italy, in Europe, this winter, as you know, and so I'll see what's possible, um, and I would love to have more furry babies. Um, a life partner if it's in the cards. Continue staying healthy. I do have a nonprofit which doesn't do too much. I love to put more work towards it. Continue contributing. I love to travel more. And right this moment, I'm having some roofing issues, so I have to deal with that. But I I would love to invest more in a in another property somewhere, I don't know where I can really have my own sustainable organic mini farm
Oh, wow.
to help with all these changes, right? And right now I am trying here, but as you know, the weather is a little harsh. It's not been easy to have a luscious farm. You'll come see me in Europe. I do have that over there. As you know, I come from a family of farmers.
Wonderful. Wow. Now you got me excited. I mean, just listening to your list makes me feel like I need to step up the bar a little with my goals. I'm very impressed by the amount of amazing goals and dreams that you have.
Oh, tell me your goals. I want to hear your goals.
Oh, my goals. Well, you just put me on the spot because I haven't been thinking about it. But my goals recently have been to really get more active and volunteering and putting out, like I like to say, good juju into the world, and not taking the chaos and the difficulties that we're seeing around us and getting bogged down by it, but really turning it into lemonade. And so I have been doing some different volunteer opportunities, donations, and really just getting more and more active with that. Of course, I've always had the travel bug. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, but there's still two countries on my list, India and Africa, and I haven't made it there yet. So those are definitely, I think you made me do a mood board at the beginning of the year, and I can't remember, but I think I got India on there, and I haven't made it there this year yet. So that's still in my dreams.
Good job.
Yeah, definitely. And just, I'm a lifelong learner, so definitely continuing to learn, to read more, to study biology more. I'm fascinated by biology, as you know, so I just want to keep getting more and more scientifically intelligent. And so that's just a few of them. So as we close today, if our listeners want to get more of you, Elena, as I'm sure they will want to, tell us a little bit about how they can find you, if they want to have sessions with you, how they can find your website. I'll put links as well in the description, but just anything that you want our viewers to know so that they can hook up with you, catch up with you. If they want to have more time with you, just put it out there for us.
Sure. Thank you. So the main website is youhavegotthepower.com, all spelled out. Youhavegotthepower.com. It's been around for almost 20 years. Believe it or not, it's been hacked, but I'm back, powerful than ever. And there's a lot of freebies there. The free yoga on Sundays. These I'll also can. There's many other freebies. I do work with interns. I do the group coaching. Eventually, I usually do leadership retreats in Italy. That's in the works. And there's always group coaching. Therapy is in California. And with my teaching, I don't know, maybe you're in, I teach at the nonprofit university, and also maybe you can get involved with my nonprofit that does help with rescue animals. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot on there, a lot of resources. You can see which one maybe fits you the most. Youhavegotthepower.com. Thank you. Yes, and I have 4 best-selling books, and most of them the proceeds go to charity.
So on youhavegotthepower.com, are you taking are you doing personal sessions if somebody wants to do an individual session with you? And also group sessions, can they find from your website how to get in contact with you for that? Okay, great. And then your books are also on there?
Yes.
And okay, wonderful. So they can find everything basically on the website. And
yes.
And do they email you, or they just click on the links on the website?
Both. Yes, okay. It's all there.
Wonderful. Well, Elena, I want to close by
you.
Thanking you for your presence, thanking you for your time, and thanking you. You just have the most infectious, beautiful smile and energy. And there's something really special about your presence and about your person. All the wonderful things that you do on this planet. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your work with people. I want to thank you for your nonprofit work. I want to thank you for your group work. And I want to thank you for your love and all the work you do with the planet and animals. And you're just a wonderful human being. So I feel honored to share you with my audience today. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you, my dear. You'll be next. Bye. Bye.